Okay everyone, Mr. Allen here. I'm going to go through using Excel to do a Monte Carlo sampling of rolling two dice. You've probably read through the assignment by now, so you have an idea what's going on. But essentially, a Monte Carlo sampling or a Monte Carlo simulation, probably a little bit better word for it, sampling happens to fit with what we've been talking about, is we're using the computer to sort of represent a situation for us that we don't want to spend the time or the effort to go through in quote unquote a real world situation. So in this case, I'm going to have the computer generate dice values for me and use those dice values to calculate the probability of, it says here a 7 coming up, but basically I'm going to have all the different possibilities. So essentially, I'm going to have you start by opening Excel or Google Sheets or the spreadsheet of your choice. This example will be done in Excel. Google Sheets is exactly the same. Something else you might have to kind of play with a little bit to find your various equations. This is going to be my raw data over here. I'm just going to generate the numbers, generate the dice values, die 1, die 2, and the total of them. And then this will be my probability chart. The total 2, I'll have a count of how many times the total 2 comes up, and the probability, therefore, the percentage of the time that it did come up. So getting started, my equation, in Excel, in most spreadsheets, you start any equation with an equal sign. So here I'm looking for equals rand between. So essentially, get me a random number between 1 and 6. And I just type that into the first box. Once you type something once, basically you don't want to take the time to type it again. So I can Control C, copy. I could just kind of left click on the corner box here when my little cross comes up and drag down. Or I can right click, copy as well. So if you copy and then basically paste that same formula into any cells where you need one. So again, die 1, I need a copy of die 1 here and a copy of die 2. I'll be getting the total for those two dice right here. Then I'm going to basically use this as a second attempt at generating two dice. Die 1 was a 2 this time, and die 2 was a 1, and get the total, and so on and so on. So this is representing 5 rolls of the dice right now for me. In order to get the total of these two dice, I want to take the contents of this cell and the contents of this cell and add them together. And so equals again, I just want to take the value of A2 and add to it the value of B2. And you can see sort of when I hit enter, my numbers regenerate. I get new values, still legitimate values. But that sort of shows why we don't want to just sort of do the 5 plus 6, because once I hit my enter, my numbers regenerate, and now I'm getting a total of 11 showing up when obviously I should be getting a 9 here. So again, once we've typed this in, equals A2 plus B2, copy paste, or just grab the corner and drag it down. Missed one, all the way to the bottom. As the numbers regenerate, all the values on the table just recalculate. The same will occur over here, so that as my numbers regenerate, my table will just fix itself. Now this will be the trickiest of the formulas. Basically, I want a count of the number of 2's in this column. I can see that right now there's 1, but when you do this, you'll be doing it for about 1,000 values. So you want to make sure that you don't have to go down the list, obviously, and do the counting yourself. So the equation here is equals count if, and you can sort of see that, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I'm going to count the value from this column if it happens to match up with my 2 is the idea. So I'm going to count if. I'm going to highlight this set of information where, or sorry, the range of values where the set of information I want comes from. So if anything in C2 to C6, comma, matches with the 2 right here. I ran out of space. I don't know if I can, there you go. So I'm going to count the value from the column if it matches with the 2 or with what's in E2 specifically. Close my bracket. And so right now it's telling me there's exactly 0 2's in this area. So our final column here is probability, and the probability in this case is just the percentage of the time that each number comes up. So here I'm interested in how often did the 2 come up, or what percentage of the time again does the 2 come up. So I'm going to take the number of 2's, the value from F2, divide that by the number of attempts I've made, and in this case I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attempts, and that will be the percentage of the time that this comes up. Now if your number does not come up as a percentage, of course 0 is 0.0%, so that's fine. You can click up here and switch it to percentage. By default the percentage is 0 decimal places. Now if I fill these down, sort of highlight them, and again grab the corner, drag them down, I missed the bottom one. And you can see that the numbers again are adjusting as I go. Every time I make a change to any cell, it recalculates, it regenerates the numbers for the dice, so then the totals all change, so then the counts all change, so then the probabilities all change as well. So again, F2 divided by 5, this one switches to F3 divided by 5, and so on. There are 5 attempts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so that should stay constant. And as we saw before, with the $sign, I'm able to ensure that my range does not change. It's always going to be from C2 down to C6. Now, if you had chosen to use Google Sheets instead, all of the formulas are exactly the same. Rand between, A2 plus B2. The range, again, written the same way. Here I've got the range all the way down to, actually I guess just beyond where I meant to get it to. That's fine. C2 to C12 in this case. C11 would have been probably what I was looking for. And the probability is the value of F2 divided by the number of attempts. In this case I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attempts. And so whatever my count is divided by 10 gives me my percentages. Now for our purposes, what I'd like to see submitted, again, you're going to run this 1,000 times or 999 times depending on which sheet you're on. If you're on the Google Sheets, there are only 1,000 cells downwards, so basically you'll have 999 of data plus your titles. So what I'm really looking for now is just the second table. If you highlight it, you can go up to Print Area and choose Set Print Area. And then when you go to File and Print, the only thing that shows up is the table itself. I don't want all that data running down the side, the 1,000 rows of information. This is what I'm interested in. Now mine's much bigger than yours will be because I've made the text quite large for the sake of the video. And depending on where you are, you'll have different printers, of course. You're looking for something like Qt PDF printer or some other PDF printer. If you don't have that, then your second option would be just to copy and paste the entire table into Word or into another word processor and save to PDF that way.